Hello, Helena. It's Emily McVeigh, Executive Director of the United Way of the Lewis and Clark area. We're here for this week's United Way Partner Spotlight with Jen Gursky from YWCA Helena. Welcome, Jen.
Thanks for having me, Emily.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
In the snowy roads.
It's gross out there. Yeah.
We made it past the train and all. So, tell us about, you guys have a rebranding happening with one of your signature events. Tell us about that. What it will be called and what it will look like this year.
So YWCA has been partnered in the Salute to Women for a number of years. The last one we actually hosted with the Sur Optimists and ABWA was in 2020, literally a couple of weeks before we went into the pandemic, and the event hasn't returned since. We have heard from a number of supporters and funders and community members that they really liked what that event celebrated, right? So it was celebrating the endeavors of women in Helena. And so we have decided to bring that event back. So we are rebranding it. It's going to be Empowered, a celebration of the women of Helena. And this year we're going to be giving away 5 awards during a luncheon, and it will be, the Empowered event is on April 16th this year.
All right. So how do you go about nominating somebody for these awards?
Yeah, so nominations will be on our website, and they will open March 1st. So on March 1st, you can go to our website and get the nomination forms, and then they are due by March 29th. So there's 4 weeks to set forth a nomination, and it would be some letters of support, right? A nomination, and there's 5 different categories to nominate folks. So number 1 is Woman of the Year, and that's for overall accomplishment or lifetime achievement, right? It's kind of this overarching award that we'll be presenting. The second one is She Speaks Power. That is for somebody who emulates the mission of YWCA, right? To eliminate racism and then to empower women. We also, our mission here in Helena is to prevent homelessness and to provide safe and supportive housing to women and children experiencing homelessness. So She Speaks Power is really a play on the social and racial justice aspect, and then intersectional with the human service delivery. So somebody who espouses the mission of YWCA Helena. The third one is Barrier Breaker. And this is for a woman who is just a professional rock star. This is somebody who just shines and not only take opportunities for herself, but would provide opportunities for others, right? So really meaning that to be in the professional realm. 4 is Woman of the Future. So this is really geared toward a woman who is a mover and a shaker in the Helena community and is showing leadership in a community realm and is having others follow. So maybe this is a disruptor, or maybe this is a young professional. Could be an activist. It could be just somebody who shines bright in their profession. Woman of the Future. And then the final one is called Pathmaker. And the Pathmaker Award is geared towards folks to nominate somebody who has mentored them, right? Somebody who has had this awesome impact in your life. And obviously as a woman, but really wanted to bring home what that personal investment and that social network that makes us strong, especially in rural communities. And quite honestly, Helena is a small, tight-knit community. Mm-hmm. So how do we acknowledge the folks that have been in our lives that have helped us in the small ways, like the neighbor down the street who brings cookies to your house every Friday because she just adores and your kids, right? And so 5 awards, April 16th, and we are rebranding it mostly because we wanted to create a broader scope of what the awards would be, right? And so we are partnering with a number of women organizations in Helena. Our sponsorship packets are out right now, and the fundraising for this event will be for the women-specific programming that YWCA does in Helena.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, first time since COVID.
First time since COVID, man. 2024 now. 4 years later, yeah.
It feels like a long time.
It feels like forever ago. Yeah.
That's great. Anything else on that rebranding? You covered all the bases, I think.
I think I really did. So I think the important thing is to head out at YWCAHelena.org and look on that events tab, and that will have the nomination criteria and the forms to fill in. We have a pretty exciting committee that will be selecting the nominees this year's for awards. Callie from the Chamber, right? A mutual friend of a lot of folks, Rick Hayes, Nicole Gomez from Montana Women Vote, folks that have stepped up to really say that this event is important. In fact, funny, but Rick Hayes is the one who's like, when are you bringing that event back, right? I think it was a really great time for Helena to acknowledge the impact of women and really start to focus on what those empowerment issues are and can be, and thinking about how women's work really improves all of our lives. So at that event, we'll be providing a State of the Woman in Helena as well, talking about probably childcare and talking about housing and talking about issues that deeply affect lives and the ability, right, to support yourself and to support your family through the lens of womanhood.
Nice.
Yeah.
So April 16th.
April
Civic
16th,
Center.
Civic Center.
That's a Tuesday.
Noon. It's a luncheon. So it'll be noon to 1 is the awards event. Folks should probably show up at about 11:30. Plan until 1:30 to get out of that Civic Center. But a catered luncheon, sponsorship, and then folks can also go out and start buying their tickets and buying tables for the event. If you're a business or an organization that wants to sponsor a table, or perhaps you've provided a nominee that's an awardee, those all go on sale March 1st as well.
Great.
Yeah.
Start thinking about who you want to nominate.
That's
right.
right.
Start getting letters of support.
Woman of the Year, Barrier Breaker, Path Maker, Yeah. Woman of the Future. Yeah. So there's a lot of awards.
Don't forget the young people.
Don't forget the young people, Emily.
There's a lot of them out there. We meet them at Hometown Helena. They're some amazing people, the Helena Young Professionals group, and they're out there getting stuff done.
They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great. Yeah. Well, you talked a lot about all the other things that, childcare, housing. So tell us a little bit about what the Y is doing these days. You guys have expanded a lot.
Yeah.
Just give us an overview of the YWCA Helena.
Yeah, you bet. So the program staff and I had a meeting a couple of weeks ago where we counted the individual lives that we serve on a weekly basis. And that number, I guess it was more than a couple of weeks ago, but on December 2nd, that number was 98 individuals for that week in the second week of December. And I think what we share a lot is about like that huge building down on Park Avenue that is a lot of square feet with 24 rooms. Right now we've got 21 women. One woman just came in with a couple of kiddos, so that count is going up to 26 kiddos now. But a couple of folks are working on graduating once they get housing. So let me talk about how we serve those 98 lives, right? So I think that the one thing that folks are really familiar with the YWCA is the shelter downtown. So we have a shelter that has 24 rooms and can house 24 women. 18 of those rooms can house children. So when we say, hey, we're up to 26 kiddos, yes, that is a lot of wiggles in the house. But it's also women with multiple children, right? And I think it's important to know that the house is 24 rooms that are really designed like a dorm room, right? So there's 6 rooms to a shared bathroom, a whole floor to a shared laundry facility, and then the whole house is sharing a kitchen. Typical stay there is about 8 months, but can expand to about 24 months, so up to 2 years. We find that folks stay a lot longer, especially when they have kiddos. A, because the programming takes longer, but B, because those are the houses that are really hard to find for graduates, right? So multiples kids. We have a woman who is ready to move out and has 5 kiddos, right?
Oh,
so
boy.
finding that house on a Section 8 voucher with this market is presenting some challenges.
Yeah.
So I think the WINGS program, which stands for Women Initiating New Growth and Stability, is probably the best known program that we have. The Caterpillar's Parenting Center, which we started in 2015, has really grown to have 3 distinct services. So one is the Parenting Center, right? So we do safe exchanges for parents that are just having a real tough go at getting along together. So one parent will drop off a kiddo, 15 minutes later, the other parent will pick up. We do supervised parenting for non-custodial parents. So that is a safe, neutral environment where folks can see their kiddos, and maybe the courts have ordered supervised parenting because the safety of parenting is really undetermined. And then we offer evidence-based parenting classes and one-on-one parenting coaching. So that's the services, one of the pillars through Caterpillars. The second pillar is we opened about a year and a half ago now a trauma-informed therapeutic childcare. And this summer we opened a preschool that is coincides with that programming. And so what does that mean? What that means is that we have trauma-informed staff that follow the curriculum of attachment and regulation. It's called an ARC curriculum for the entire 0 to 6. And then we also have therapies delivered on site at the childcare, right? So occupational therapy and speech therapy, physical therapy, right? And then behavioral health therapy. And that parents don't have to take their child to a therapist. That therapist comes on site. And so it's designed for low-income folks, right, who might be like the clerk at Safeway, right, and cannot leave every week for 3 different therapies that kiddo needs. So we've designed it where parent can come in, but therapist comes on site and delivers therapies and therapeutic interventions for kiddos. So we started a preschool in that same design over in Stewart Homes, and Stewart Homes is that public housing that's right by Helena High,
Yep.
other side, right by Helena High. And altogether, we have about 44 slots for children right now. Child care is the thing right now. I think when we talk about empowering women and we talk about like what a top woman's issue is, a top family issue is accessible, quality, affordable childcare.
Yep.
And I think it's actually a national problem, and those who are providing childcare are finding themselves in the center of a lot of complex systems that aren't working right now. So paying for it, finding the funding to run it, right? Finding available spots. It's a pretty complex field. We're proud to be doing it because it is a leg to a stool that is incredibly necessary for the success of women. But it's a tough space to be in right now. The third thing that we do with Caterpillars is actually the Caterpillars Counseling Center. So we are now a licensed mental health center. And so we are hiring a team of child therapists to not only serve the 44 kiddos in the child care, but also that 26 number that's living in the shelter. Children's therapy services are really difficult to find right now, especially 0 to 6 if you can't get a referral out, right? And that's because we don't have universal pre-K. So usually referrals into therapeutic interventions happen at a school level. And so our focus right now is providing children's mental health and family behavioral health services to families that have children 0 to 6 years old. So it's kind of a hop in place now. We're in 4 different locations, right, with the preschool and the Caterpillars and the house. We also provide some services downtown in what we call the annex, the annex offices. So it's a hopping agency right now.
Yeah, very busy.
Yeah.
Very much expanded from several years ago.
Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah.
If people haven't been paying attention, it's a different place.
It's and you know, like who we serve and how we serve has built some sophistication, and I think we have been able to expand our impact into the community, right? Which is really the most important thing, right? Like, to say that we serve 98 individuals per week, that's a pretty significant piece of the pie when we talk about the vulnerable populations that are our neighbors, right? And how we serve them.
Yeah.
So.
And then working that from getting them from usually unhoused or unstably housed to
right, 100%.
housing. Yeah.
I think it's
Which is a
important to
long
remember
battle.
that the first criteria for coming into YWCA services is that you and your family are homeless or at risk of experiencing homelessness, right? And then that secondary is that behavioral health disorder and substance use disorder, so that we can wrap around families that are experiencing both of those to hopefully provide independence and stability.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what kind
good
of
work.
supports do you need? Are you hiring? Do you need donations? It's where we always wrap up all the things. Yeah.
Everything, right. We have a needs list out on our website. I would say our top 10 right now are larger size diapers, right? So we get a lot of the littles, but actually what we need is size 4, 5, 6, and pull-ups. So huge need right there. I think if we're talking about things, like, we are always in need of twin size bedding. So diapers and twin size bedding right now, new is preferred. Donations, right? Like, the thing is that there are no grants right now that pay for the housing part that YWCA Helena does. So the behavioral health aspect that we do is a completely different than the housing part, right? And so the shelter itself costs about $135,000 a year to run, and most of that comes from unrestricted dollars at this point. I think, and then lastly, volunteers. I think we are hiring. We're hiring childcare. I think we have a couple of positions that are about to open up. So right now we have 30 staff, and so I think that's always going to be like who YWCA is now. Like, if you wanted to work with YWCA Helena, we probably have a position listed because of the nature of human service delivery, right? So yeah, donate things, donate money, donate time, come work for us. And then I think the next thing would just be like, help us spread the word, right? We support women with substance use disorder. We support the kiddos who have experienced trauma and who are part of the CPS system. And I think some of this developing, like, therapeutic aspect of who YWCA is kind of the new thing that people, I had no idea you did that, right? One of our therapists said, I think that you guys are the best kept secret in town. And I think it's because we grew a lot during COVID, and so it was pretty under the radar. But now we have some established services that I don't see going anywhere anytime soon.
Good.
Yeah.
We need them. So
yeah, we really do.
Hopefully they stick around.
Yeah.
All right. Any last words before we sign off?
I feel like that's a really serious question. Any last words?
Not last words.
Right.
Jen.
Yeah. Okay. Not last words. Just before we sign off.
We're not taking you to like.
I think my last
room.
words would be just gratitude. The community continues to show up, and I would say for the YWCA, but it's really not for YWCA. It's for those we serve. And I know that like Valley Bank does the Heart of Helena, and I really think like the Heart of Helena are the people, right? The Heart of Helena are the people who continually show up in all of the ways that we just described on how to support, and they do that for a multitude of agencies, right? It's not just YWCA. And so I think my last words would be gratitude.
Yeah, we live in a great community.
We really do.
They always step up when
Except
we
for
need
the trains.
them. The trains. Gives us time to ponder.
That's right.
Well, thanks for coming in
Yeah,
today.
thanks for having me.
And thanks, Helena. We'll see you again next week.